Hi, I'm Cody Gibson, and I wanted to chat with you today about why your talents are holding you back. You know, the viewership for this video would probably be almost all real estate agents, so let's keep it in that context for a minute. You know, a real estate agent who wants to move into a business space instead of being a hobby space. You know, somebody, it was Brandy Kroom, a friend of mine from Anchorage who I've known for years that came to Keller Williams with me there years ago. She made a comment about how most real estate agents are hobbyists and that they're practicing a hobby, and a good definition for a hobby is that it actually costs you money. Doesn't necessarily make you money. And you know, I was thinking about that for the last few days. So Brandy, thanks for mentioning it I think it was on Facebook where you mentioned it. So thank you for that. You know, so I was thinking about why your talents might be holding you back. You think about how you build, and you get a business strong enough that you want to hire an assistant, or you want to bring on a new lead gen structure, or you want to start spending money on internet lead gen, or different things that you wouldn't have done maybe a year or 2 years ago, or 10 years ago, and now you're at that point that you can. You know, the challenge though is that what got you here won't get you there. And I believe sometimes your talent, which is just to take action, might be holding you back. You know, I was chatting last night with a friend in a different state who's dealing with a pretty difficult decision right now in his business. And my advice after a half hour at the end was, I said, you know what, I don't want you to do anything. I want you to go into a holding pattern and not make a choice here. And the phone went silent. And I said, I bet I know what you're thinking. Because your natural ability, what got you into this opportunity, was that you always took action. Like you had a challenge, you went. You had something to do, you went. You always took action. And that's nothing wrong with that. Though there might be a time in your business where the right action is a holding pattern. The right action is no action at all. Don't forget that not doing something is still something. Kind of like how Gary Keller's always said this. He said, listen, saying no is a complete sentence. You can just say no to something. And when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something. One of the greatest observations I've learned about success or sales success or leadership or the management of time or self is that when you say yes to something, you got to say no to something. Oh man, that's good and bad. Though I want you to think for a minute, some of your talents, you know, maybe you're great with people. Maybe you're great with selling. Maybe you're great with a 30 or 40-day relationship as it relates to an escrow. You're amazing with customer service in the confines or bounds of 4 to 7 weeks. Because that's what we do in our industry, right? Most of the time, we're in escrow with someone for 40, 50, 70 days. These are not 2-year contracts. These are not long-term customer service, though you might provide lots of service to get back into escrow with somebody. And think about how we get really good at those things, and then all of a sudden, we want to change them and go a totally different direction. Sometimes the very things that got you here are definitely not going to get you there. And that's okay. I want you to fall in love with the journey, and I want you to quit thinking about the outcome. And I want you to be okay with the process that you're on. You see, you're on a journey and I'm on a journey. And what we do is we just keep taking steps. And you know, what we do is we learn every day. And what we also do is we probably make mistakes every day. Though I want you to think about some of the mistakes that you made, that you make in relation to your own talents. You know, we have this thing to where we win at something and we do something, and all of a sudden that becomes that's a win for us, and then that becomes our success formula. And so in our brain we say, well, we do X, Y, and Z. So we take action fast. We always keep moving. And that wins for us at one level, and then we try to apply it to everything in our life. And I'm not so sure that's right. I want you to slow down to speed up. I want you to have a narrow focus to obtain a large focus. Gary's talked about that for years. Get very, very narrow focused. You know, when you're just selling homes and you're building a great real estate sales business, there's only 3 or 4 things to go work on. And you do them every single day, over again. Then at some point you say, all right, I want to turn this thing into a business. And all of a sudden, some of the things that you never had to think about, you now have to think about. For heaven's sakes, maybe now you have expenses you would have never had to think about. Maybe you never had to think about payroll or meeting payroll or payroll taxes or employment rules or employment laws or all this stuff. Maybe now your bookkeeper is not online. Maybe it's like a real live bookkeeper that you got to talk to. And all of a sudden, that brings in itself a whole new slew of issues or problems. Listen, just know this. I think some of the talents you have that got you here are some of the talents that hold you back from going there. Wherever there looks like for you. And the good news is, they are the same for me too. We're in the same boat. What I want you to do is recognize them, realize them, give them thought, and then I want you to move around them. It's just a belief process. You know, it was Diana Kokoska who said this, or at least this is where I heard it. She said, I believe that you could be one belief away from everything looking different. So in closing, what's your one belief? What's that one thing that if you just knew that or you believed that, everything would look different from there forward? Listen, you're in a good space right now. Don't you give up. Press on. Thanks for listening.